done really well on our 120. He's done really well on our flies.
Registration. Minnesota club getting busy.
Migrating?
Tell you, they were everywhere.
Dave Coleman. We got a cold ball. Hey, JL there.
Usually we have one or so, but I'll tell you, we had 20
When they come through, or when
they were soaring coming down, and all of a sudden, well, let's hang out. So we did.
they see a reason to stop.
Somebody told me that there might be.
I've never seen one of that.
One of our members is
We're about 20 miles from the Michigan border, the UP, and they.
What is it about?
I never looked at it. You know, get out there and look at it.
They'll be on YouTube one of these days.
Hard.
Auction bird. Here for donated by John Elton, John Red Black. And then on the other side, and down here we got John Jones hiding. Thought he was hiding. And we got these birds donated by Mark Ritter.
Corona
These
family.
are down Corona family. And we have some pure Corona stock. John Jones is holding.
Almonds. Yeah. They were donated by Arwen Costa, one of our other members.
Nice looking out. There's Elvin, looks like he came road marching 700-800 miles.
I got a new backpack.
Yeah, it looks good. I saw it. That's what I say. Road march. So give us a little demonstration real quick. Like,
Basically, you kind of drop the bird from the top here if you have a tame bird. Otherwise, you can stick a bird to the front. You close this up, and then you won't have any glares, any shadow. You take a camera and shoot the bird right here. You end up getting pictures like this. No glare, no funky looking birds. Piece of art, well built. Motley of Lino Lakes.
What's his, what do you say, Lace?
His name is Motley. Lives in Lino Lakes. He's a
Lino Lakes.
He made it. He's the first flyer tomorrow morning.
My name's John Elton. I'm from St. Cloud, Minnesota. I'm the president of the Minnesota Flying Roller Group, which is hosting this year's convention. My line of birds is Donalettes, and I've been flying competitively now for 6 years, and I'm hoping to put a pretty good show on for you today.
All right, thank you, John.
Hi, my name is Motley. I'm from Lino Lakes, Minnesota. I'm a member of the Minnesota Flying Roller Group, along with the NBRC. I've had my birds for about 3 years there. Consists of Alex Hamilton, Clip Ball, and Wing Feather.
All right, thanks, Molly. Look forward to seeing your first kit here this morning.
Hi, my name is Bill Merkley. I'm from Ripon, Wisconsin. I've had flying rollers for 46 years. My line I have now I've had for 30 years, which is Everett Smith and Greg Sale. And I'd like to thank my wife, Debbie, for taking care of my birds while I'm gone.
All right, sounds good, Bill.
Dave Eichels from Minneapolis. Minnesota Flying Roller Group. I was there at the beginning in '72. I have Kelowna birds and I fly portable kit.
All right, Dave.
Hi, I'm Wally Robinson. I'm from Waterloo, Iowa. I've had flying rollers for 27 years. I got a little bit of everything. It's my strain now, but I want to thank both my daughters for staying home and taking care of my birds. Otherwise, they'd be dead by the time I got back.
Absolutely, Wally. Thank you. Hey, Phil.
Hey, I'm Farrell Busson from Dibble, Oklahoma. My family of birds goes back to some birds that Don Hearn got from Frank Levin, and Frank lived in California. And my precious wife June is feeding and watering mainly young birds and flying kids.
Absolutely. Love June.
My name is Frank Lavin, Red Rock, Texas. 56 years in rollers. And my wife's sound asleep up there, so I couldn't get her up. My strain is William H. Benson to Stan Polona and J.D. Roy Smith. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Craig.
I'm Joe Emberton from Visalia, California. Sort of a newbie to rollers.
Yeah, right.
Racing pigeons 25 years, had rollers for 12. I've got my own family.
You do an awesome job with them, too.
Yeah, Terry Warner. I live in Norwich, Kansas, and don't have no real particular family of birds, just different birds I've got.
Good, Terry.
I'm Michael Morris. I'm from Parthenon, Arkansas. I've been an NBRC member since 1989, and the birds I fly are a mixture of several families.
All right, hey, Mike. What's up, Yanni?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, your turn, buddy.
All right. Well, you know, I'm Yanni Bernard, as usual. Been at it for plus 30 years. I'm out of Stockton, California.
All right, I'm good. Stockton.
So then, I'm Joanna. I'm out of California, and I just fly a mixture of my birds and Mr. Yanni here.
I'm good. You're on the move.
Hi, John Kelly from Texas, and I fly birds from Brickley and Opportunity.
All right, welcome, John.
Bruce Weeks, Lake Elmo, Minnesota, about 7 miles east of St. Paul. Started with rollers in about 1955, but we've only had them about half the time since then. So most recently, about the last 2 years, with birds from John Elton and Dick Coleman.
All right, welcome back, Bruce.
Hi, I'm Jesse Quintero from Modesto, California. I've had my own family since '89, 950 family. I got those birds from Jack Myers, and hope to be here next year.
I'm good.
I think so.
Wayne Strong. I live in Hamelin, Minnesota. I've had rollers off and on since probably early 70s. I've got one kit now, and I got them from Arwen, who's sitting right next to me.
Good. This is Arwen.
Arwen Talker, working on St. Croix, Minnesota. Been raising rollers for 60 years. Have basically my own strain with some Johnny Elton's and John Johnson's bloodlines mixed in there. Been flying birds for probably the last 10 years, off and on.
60 years. Are you flying a kit this trip?
I'm not flying a kit today, but I got 2 kits up there now.
Okay. All right, sounds good. All right.
Hey guys, Rick Hammond. Been flying birds for my second year. I can't tell you what family they are because they're just a mix of everything. I live about 20 miles from St. Paul.
All right, Rick, welcome.
Kelly Applegate from Princeton, Minnesota. Working with 2 different families, the Masons and the Heine Bikers. Pretty excited. This will be the first year I'll be able to see what they're going to fly like. I've been involved in pigeons since the mid-'80s.
Sound good. Welcome, Kelly.
I'm Tony and Paula. We're with Kelly.
All right.
We don't have any birds.
Welcome. It's all right.
Hi, I'm Gonzalo Vegas out of Modesto, California. Been flying rollers since 1989. Pretty much a small family now. That's it.
Greg Truesdale, Charlotte, North Carolina, club champion, Triumph Flying Roller Club, and I've been wrecking birds for 28 years now.
All right, Greg, welcome back, buddy.
Hey, Cole Thor. A lot of guys know me by Thor on the internet. From Minnesota. I fly. My breeders actually are from Joe Bob Stuka, Don Simpson, and Rick Shady.
Another one of the Minnesota Convention crew members.
Hello, Bob Scott, Waxahachie, Texas. I fly a variety of pigeons. Well, most of them are all California-based pigeons, I guess you'd say.
All right, Bob.
Yeah, Kenny Leipnick, Crowley, Texas. A lot of California, a lot of stuff from JV.
Hey, Brock. Okay. All right, Kenny, welcome back. Let's.
Hey, Cool Bay, from Minnesota. I fly the Donald family. Hear your name.
All right, sounds good, man. Welcome.
Gary Bingham, Minnesota.
Okay, cool.
Hi, Peng Moore from Minnesota here. Flying birds for 12 years. My main focus is on the green family.
Welcome, buddy. Okay.
Taylor McCoy from South Florida. I've been flying birds now 9 years. I have Jack and Ed, Turner, and 514 family.
All right, Bill Roy, Florida.
Florida in the house.
All right. That's bus 1.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are you guys doing?
Oh!
Well, my name is Ma Lee. I've got, basically raised 3 families of birds. I've got all my birds from Alex Hamilton, Cliff Ball, Big Cliff, and I've also got some birds from Wayne. I've had Wayne Fetter. I've had these birds for roughly about 3 years. I just started competing with the local club here about 3 years as well. So, but I've been with the club for about 11 years. That's pretty much it.
So it's L.E.E. Lee?
First flyer, Molly. 29, 97.
How are you today? All right. Very good.
Sorry.
Okay, we're here right now with our first flyer for the day. This is Ma Lee. Ma's part of the Minnesota Flying Roller Group. He lives here in Lino Lakes. He just introduced himself here to the group. But once again, if you could tell us the family of birds that you're going to be flying today.
The family of birds that I will be flying will consist of Alex Hamilton, Cliff Ball, and wing feather birds. These birds are on my main team. I'm going to mix all the birds together just so I can try to put up on a good show, hopefully. Currently, right now, these birds are being kept in the shed here, just so I can kind of route them up a little bit. Hopefully that works.
Now he's also been a big promoter of our group here as far as the Metro Fly. These guys have been competing all summer, pretty much on a monthly basis. They get together, have a little barbecue, pull the birds up, compete against each other within our own club. And Ma's been doing a very good job. He's pretty much won this.
Unfortunately, yes. I'm going to have to take a back seat and let the other guys have fun for a while.
Well, we're hoping to see some pretty good spinning today. We've been doing well, and hopefully today we've got a beautiful day here. It's probably about 65 degrees right now for Minnesota in August. That's a pretty nice temperature, no wind. We've got some pretty good conditions, clear sky. So we'll see what they can do.
You have a beautiful setup here, Ma. Anything in preparation that you do normally, maybe for your birds? Any special feed or
just my normal routine. I usually go with a straight wheat diet, and if I need to spice things up a little bit, I'll give them a feed of my breeder mixture just to build them up a little. But mainly it's just straight wheat.
Nice. All right, thank you. Look forward to seeing you. Nice.
Okay, I'd like to introduce, this is Arwen Togner, again from Minnesota here. He's flying out of St. Croix. Arwen has been one of the long-standing pigeon breeders in the state of Minnesota. Arwen, how many years have you been breeding birds?
I've been breeding birds 60-some years. And out of that, probably about 50 years has been rollers. My rollers consist of my own breed. John Johnson, Chuck Hayes, Carl Sylvie. I picked up some birds from Johnny Alton this last year to try them out and cross in the mine. And we'll see how it always been. I've been flying rollers probably, off and on. Spent 15 years flying them out of my barn, but the hawk got so bad that I had to quit that. And about 3 years ago, I moved the loft out to the clear spot in my pasture. And I've been flying the birds out of there. It's been working real well. Just got into the competition here this last year.
Well, we had a chance to see his birds fly this summer, and he's going to be a competitor. He's got a nice setup now. He's got a wide variety of breeds that he breeds, along with pheasants and ducks and geese and turkeys, everything he's got out there. Tell us a little bit. How many birds do you think you have on the place now?
1,500, conservative estimate. But there's Hungarian house pigeons, Valencian figuritas, racing homers, show homers, Chinese owls, a few other breeds here and there.
You have them separated by breeds, I'm thinking? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't go trying to mix anything. I created the muff Chinese owl, but
Did you?
That's another project, a 20-year project there.
In fact, I got to know Arwen when I was about 12 years old. When I first got into pigeons, I had Chinese owls, and we had the Minnesota Chinese Owl Group. And
I've been trying to get them back into Chinese owls.
He keeps trying to bring me over a couple pairs, get me back into the Chinese owls, but I've got the rollers and fantails, so the place is pretty full.
I'm a genetic nut, so I play with colors and features.
He's got a pretty nice strain of almond rollers going, don't you?
Almond rollers, almond homers.
Arwen Togner. Is that how you say it?
That's me.
Pleasure meeting you. And we look forward to hearing more of you out there in the coming years in competition. Sounds like you're going to be a good competitor.
He's going to be a factor here pretty soon.
I'm 72 now. I don't know how many more years I'm going to go.
Plenty. We got older guys out here.
Got a good 20 years left in you.
Oh, thank you.
Pleasure meeting you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wish that wasn't there, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have the rat trap over there because they come to the pond. Not the dog, but the rats. I've never had that happen before.
Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't. I had talked to Joe Dan.
I couldn't stand
me, and I said, look.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. It's all yeah, that way I can just leave the well, I kind of saw what you did there. So, no, and I twice.
I live right in the city, and I've
Like I told her, you know,
I got 12.
Hi, my name is Bang Moore from Minnesota. Just starting up.
He's one of our newer members here. He's got rollers. He's not competing at this point right now, but he's learning how to play the game.
Yep.
And have you flown in any of the...
No club flies yet.
Not yet. Looking forward to it?
Looking forward to it.
Sounds good, man, because next thing you know, in a couple of years, we'll be seeing Bring more? Hang more. And next thing you know, so I'm going to get you on the video now, ahead of time. All right,
Yeah,
sounds good.
like at the Metro group, we've really got a good crew of flyers down there. Our club's getting bigger. We've got like 58 members here in the Minnesota group, and it's been growing every year. So they keep bringing more and more young flyers in that want to learn how to fly Birmingham rollers. So
Sweet.
They're doing a great job.
Good job, Peng. Thanks.
Howdy, Nick Marino, Salt Lake City, Utah. I've been flying birds for about 5-6 years maybe. I got some Gill Rand and Adam Hill.
Nice.
Gil Rand.
Let's be Gil Rand here.
Yep, from Springville, Utah. And I've had Jackanets since 1991. Been flying them since then.
Also a big supporter of the World of Wings?
World of Wings, yes. I'm on the board for that. The architect for the American Pigeon Museum and Library in Oklahoma City, Utah, or Oklahoma.
All right. Good seeing you again. Welcome back, Nick.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Hi, I'm Dick Coleman, and I'm from Minnesota, and I've been flying birds since 1980. And my family is Donovan birds, Joe Lobstuka. I have a few birds I got years ago from Larry Hubbard in Kentucky. And I'm one of the guys flying today, and I'm just hoping my birds will flip a little bit.
Dick, one of the big supporters of the convention, along with this next man right here, Wayne Fetter.
Hi, I'm Wayne Fetter, and from Blue Earth, Minnesota. And it should be on the record that Dick Coleman did all the work, and I just went along in his shirt tails. But I started flying competition in 2006. I had rollers when I was younger, but I retired in 2006. And a lot of people have given me good birds, but mostly I've screwed up. But mostly my birds now that I'm flying are Mason birds by way of Ellis McDonald through Jim Sherwood. They've been my best family so far.
Good job. Well, he's been doing really well in the World Cup.
Richard Ashery from Hawkinsville, Kentucky. I've been in the rollers now about 8 years. I have a lot of problems flying due to birds of prey, so I don't get to fly a whole lot. I enjoy these conventions.
All right, good seeing you again, Rich.
Me? Dennis Burke. I'm from Michigan. I'm flying the same family bird since 1998 that I got from Rick Mee, and been in the rollers since 1991.
All right, good seeing you again, Dennis. It's been a while.
Bruce Jackson, Sterling, Illinois. Been in the roller hobby since 2001. Won some birds on the NBRC auction. Gil Rand, that gave me my start. Jackanet style pigeon. Had some Higgins birds in there. A few other guys. Been lucky. Fly locally with the CRC, Central Roller Club, up in the Mississippi River.
All right, Bruce. Good seeing you again, too.
Bob Munson, Dixon, Illinois. The current family I got now, I started in 1976 with. They're derived mostly from Houghton Rodenbacher stock. That's pretty much what I've been flying since then.
So good, Bob. Huge scores. Good question. All right, good seeing you.
Dixon, Illinois.
Dixon, Illinois. Wife of Bob Munson.
That's a big thing. That's a big thing. Thank you for coming, man. Good seeing you.
Jim Hoffman, Eagle River, Wisconsin. I've been in rollers since 1998. I fly predominantly kit of birds from Tim Decker that I won at the Louisville convention. I have a couple pairs of birds, Meldon Cheney, that I was given from a Wisconsin Flyer Club member, and enjoyed very much.
And Sue Kaufman, wife of Jim. Jim has to put up with me going into his loft and tweaking and doing things that I tell him what I've done afterwards. So we have a lot of fun with it.
Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ming Tao. I'm from Wausau, Wisconsin. I just this is my first year in rollers, so there's still a lot of stuff I got to suck in and learn. But I want to give thanks
Jim Kaufman of Eagle River. I got birds from him. Without him, I wouldn't be flying anything right now. And also thanks Greg Sales and John Lawrence of New York. Yeah, so still learning, still flying, and happy to be here. Thank you.
All right, Mick, welcome, man. I think you're gonna start coming from now on this one.
Definitely.
Hey, this is Paul Lee from Minnesota. I have rollers for about 6 years. Got birds mostly from Minnesota guys, from the NBRC. So guys from like Cole and Mon. That's it.
Big supporter of the convention also. Who we got here?
Hey, Tim Poston, Los Angeles, California. Keep them flying.
Keep them flying. That's
I stood up and had a very loud and he says, I said, I'm Jim Peters from Davenport, Iowa, and he says, I raise feather lice and rats and mice.
Whenever you guys are ready to talk to you.
That's fine. So I'm Jim Peterson from Davenport, Iowa. I've got two families, one Hardesty line I've had since 1990, and another line of George Reeve birds that went back to Bob Evans and Paul Vaughn. I've had those for 44 years.
Good deal. All right, Jim.
My name is Elton Piccini. I live in Romedale, Missouri, and my birds came from Dick Ballou out of Wichita, Kansas. I've had them since the early 80s.
Nice.
He's a Hall of Famer.
A few Hall of Famers in here, that's right.
I'm Mel Stalzer. We're all members of the MFRG, but there's only one thing wrong about it. I'm from Iowa, and these guys are from Minnesota.
That's all right.
My name is Mark Ritter. I fly the Kelowna strain, but after Stan left this world in '79, it's time to stop blaming us.
Going on 7 years.
We're going to your fly next, right? We're going to
next, yep.
separate interview there.
Yeah, 1 year I had
Hi, John Johnson from Lino Lakes, Minnesota. I got serious with my rollers back in 1967. The birds I have now came from Bob Clark. I bought them in 1973 and got them from Bob Evans in '62. So I've been my 38th year with them.
You don't look that old. I was 4 years old when you started up.
Bonita Johnson, Lino Lakes, Minnesota.
All right, heard a lot about you. Good things. John Johnson came over to the house one time. He even mentioned it. Who we got here, Mike?
Mike DeShane, Peoria, Illinois. I'm just here to babysit Melbourne.
All right. Illinois group.
Bob Horde, Illinois. He did set it all.
All right, Bob.
Hello. I'm Henny Kirsten. I'm from Olympia, Washington, and I fly some birds from Wayne Feather and from Ivan Edson. And I've been doing this for a couple of years. I used to fly the rollers back home here in Holland, but I've been now at it for the 3 years.
Henny sounds like he's going to be a big competitor here in the next few years.
Hi, I'm Tim Decker. I'm from Southern California. I fly a family I've developed over the last 30 years. I call them three buys and 4 buys, depending on the process that I did to make the family along.
Nice seeing you again, Tim.
Hey, Dan. Glad you're doing this again. I'm Don McCauley, currently the president. I want to thank the First Lady Lynette for putting up with the birds. I'm flying Lynette birds, Tim Decker birds. Got to do them more justice. A little bit of Willie Wright, Randy Gibson. I won't go on and on with the rest, but I've been doing this for 18 years. This bird started me in it. It was a personal band from Hugo Blast that I inadvertently got involved in rollers with. So that's my story. But it's a way of life. I enjoy the hell out of it. So.
Thank you, Presidente.
All right, thank you, Dan.
All right, Ernie.
Ernie Fransky, Winona, Minnesota, currently a non-flyer.
All right.
Gene Klinger, Winona, Minnesota. I'm flying first Wayne Feather and John Elton. And I've only been in it about 3 years.
All right, welcome. That was
I'm Mike Brown from Indiana, and I've had rollers since 1998, and I'm flying primarily Ellie Cheney birds. Regional Director for Indiana, Illinois, and Western Kentucky.
All right, thank you. Welcome, Mike.
He got in a real hurry. He just met the lady from the month ago.
What's going on, Cliff?
How you doing, Dan?
You're next. You guys got a nice setup over here. I think a lot of us don't know that these chairs do this.
My name's Cliff Ball. I've been flying birds since 2004. Flying the James Turner family through Jay Handel. Currently serving as the NBRC Vice President.
All right, welcome, Cliff.
My name is Jay Alneimer. I've been flying birds from 2004. I'm from Ohio, by the way. And I have some birds from Danny Horners with me and Cliff Ball and Illusions. Pretty good birds.
Your position now?
I'm the treasurer for the NBRC.
Treasurer.
Yes. I collect the money, pay the bills.
All right, just throw it out there. Okay.
All right.
Good seeing you.
Hi, I'm Dom Seary from Maryland. I've been flying birds for about 45 years. I currently have the J. Holmheimer family of birds. Had them for about 3 years. They don't do shit. I'm looking to get rid of them, so if you know anybody who wants any birds, let me know, okay?
What family of birds was that?
J. Holmheimer.
Who?
It doesn't have one. He has the Cliff Ball. No, I actually fly the Mongol strain.
Okay. All right. Good seeing you, Dom.
All right. Take care.
Jay Yandel, North Carolina. Had birds since I was probably 8 or 9. Got my start.
Thank you. You're welcome.
James Turner birds, and I've also got some Henry Cook birds and some others in between there.
All right. Good seeing you again, too, Dave.
Good seeing you, Dan.
This is the end of bus 2. They're attacking.
We haven't got that thing yet.
One leg one fell swoop.
This is the man we're going to follow right here.
Lost downtown.
All right, guys, I'm going to have Mark Ritter tell us a little bit about his kid and his birds.
You know I'm shy. Hold it close to your mouth. Most of you guys don't mind.
I think I need Welcome.
Close to your mouth.
Close to my mouth? Okay. Welcome. I've got and I told it once before that this is a Polona strain of rollers, and they're still pretty pure. But since Stan died in '79, it's time I stopped blaming him. They're actually, I'm just kind of getting to manage them again. I lost everything I raised last year because they fly too high. So this is a young bird kit that I've got. The ones I'm going to fly are just around 4 months old. So you're not going to see what you're going to see at Ma's or John's, but bear with me.
You being modest.
One leg one fell swoop. Unfairness lost downtown. One late route, one fell swoop, unfinished, lost downtown. One late route, one fell swoop, unfinished, lost downtown.
Okay, this is our second flyer of the day. This is Mark Ritter, again member of the NBRC and NBRC and the Minnesota Flying Roller Group. Mark's been an old hand at flying rollers. He was in them way back in the 70s. Got out of them, got into dog training, pretty big on a national level, that sort of thing. And now, the last couple of years, has gotten back to his flying Birmingham rollers, and he's putting some kits up. He competed the first time in the World Cup this spring. So
Got DQ'd.
got DQ'd, but he was in there. He was trying. And that's,
With these same birds, or?
Actually, last year's kid, but it's the same strain, yeah.
well, tell us a little bit. What family of birds do you fly?
Well, right at the moment, I'm flying the Polona strain, and actually, when I first got into the rollers, we actually, the likes of Dick Nauer and Gail Peterson, who was a member of the NBRC, got them right from Stan, and that's what I started with. And because I was I got back into them because the same guy that I kind of got started in birds had them. But since then, I've seen other birds around, and right now, like I said, I still fly the Polona rollers, but I'm going to try a couple different families.
Now this family. Now this kit of birds that you flew today, they're young birds from this year, right?
Yeah, the oldest one is right around 4 months.
So I did see some flipping up there. They're starting to break a little
They're
bit together.
starting to work together,
I see some promise coming in that kit. Again, a young kit, and one that hopefully will develop. Maybe
I hope so. I hope so.
Anything specific you fed these birds that you just let out?
Actually, what I found with this Polona strain, they're so strong on the wing that you've got to watch what you're doing in feed. Last year, like I said, I lost everything that I raised. Now this year, they've been better, but what I do is I kind of watch kind of the Monty Nibel thing, the yo-yo, but I find with this strain of rollers, you almost have to start it when they're squeaking. And when they start flying more than 45 minutes, I feed them hard when they come in, because that's the day they really shouldn't make you mad. But then the next day I feed them about half of what I fed them, and they're not supposed to fly high, but that's pretty much, I kind of developed a feed for these birds, and so far I haven't lost a bird this year, and I lost 50 last year.
So finding a family that you're happy with right now, you're struggling a little bit with, with this group, and I guess they fly so high and so long, and controlling feed is difficult. So getting a family of birds that you can enjoy is a big part of it.
Yeah, because life's too short to argue with them.
And we're getting too old.
Exactly.
Hey, Mark, I noticed the birds are a little fast. Is that just something that they're, because they're young, or do they settle down after a little bit, or it's just,
Dan,
that's why I asked on the
I have a
feed.
lot of people say that, This kit, for some reason, flies really fast, and I'm not sure why. It must be a couple of birds up there that are hurting it. I have a younger kid in there that's actually a month younger, and they just crawl around the sky. So I haven't quite taken the time to kind of figure out why they're doing it, because I hadn't had any problem with predators, but for some reason this kid is just flying fast, and I really can't answer that. But normally the Kelowna rollers will fly slower. They maintain their energy so they can fly up to the heavens.
In the last few days, what have you fed them? What have you fed them?
The last few days, what I found that if I put them on Milo for a couple of days, it kind of brings them so they don't want to fly so long. The last couple of days now, I've actually upped the wheat, which apparently what I'm seeing I probably shouldn't have. I've been feeding them 50-50 wheat and Milo, and it's normally been burning off, but the last fly I was in, I got DQ'd with about 2 minutes to go, and I didn't want people to come here and not see the birds fly, so I probably made a mistake by giving them a little more. But
no peas in there?
No peas at all. If you give this strain of pigeons peas, you might as well kiss them goodbye.
Okay.
Like I said, these are pretty much, most of my breeders are probably in that age of 10 years plus, so really their parents go right back to stand.
Nice setup, Mark.
Well, thanks.
You do have a beautiful kit box setup. This is,
yeah, that's the first I've seen the hinge swing out deal
if
there.
you look at everything's got a pan. He can clean his whole loft and kit boxes in about 10 minutes.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's very well thought out and well engineered.
Good idea. Opens it up. It takes it from almost dark to total.
Yeah, and it's easy to put bath pans when you want to, and it kind of makes the whole thing like a fly pin.
Nice.
And I haven't had a lot of problems with hawks. Like I said, I think when you have a lot of problems with hawks, you can't let the birds get visualized as much.
Right.
So far, I've been okay.
All right. Thanks again, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you. A couple coming out for the sky though, and they've been. But you get a few short ones with them.
Yeah, they're trying. They're getting closer. Like I said, the thing about it is I shouldn't have probably fed them when I fed them.
So how much was that? 23?
Yeah, 22. I fed them actually 25 tablespoons yesterday, but I've got a mix that's more Milo than wheat. I've been doing it, but they've been coming down a few minutes early. Well, yesterday, instead of doing that normal mix, I added 11 of the normal mix and added 11 wheat. So maybe the wheat just got a little heavy. And I don't know these ones. But I don't see the bird. I mean, you don't.
It's kind of
Okay, we've got Dennis Burke here. I'd like to introduce him here from Michigan. World Cup champion, won the World Cup in 2003, has been World Cup judge in 2004. Dennis, tell us a little bit about that experience. How tough is it to win the World Cup? Tell me what that experience, and we all want to do that. So tell us what it was like.
It was unexpected. It wasn't something that I was looking to do or even thought that I would be capable of doing. I just wanted to fly my birds and see if I could compete with the best in the world. And in the regional qualifying, I only scored 160 points, but I was still able to qualify. And so it was a perfect day, probably about 60 degrees. It was clear, wasn't any wind, and the birds elevated to about 200, 225 feet. And they worked for the whole 20 minutes. And performance of a lifetime that you hope that your birds have when the time is right. So I was fortunate that they did it for me on that day. So I was quite pleased.
Well, getting them right on the right day, it's a tough thing to do. Very tough.
Yep.
Do you have a special feeding program that you use, or what did you use to get them ready?
To prep my birds, what I usually did is 2 weeks out. I'd fly them every day, and for 20 birds, I'd feed about a cup and 3/4 of wheat. And I flew them every day. I don't care if the wind was blowing, it was raining, whatever. They flew every single day. And 48 hours out. As the 2 weeks went on, I decreased the feed to about a cup and 1/4. And if they flew for 10 minutes and only flew 40, 50 feet high, I was happy. I didn't want any rolling. And then 48 hours out, I flew them for the last time, and they'd get a cup of peas, and then a cup and 1/4 of a mixed feed with meat, wheat, Milo, peas, safflower, and then 24 hours out, they'd get 2 cups of mix, and then that was it. I took the water away probably 8 hours before they flew, because they don't need water when they're up there, and then keep my fingers crossed and open up the doors when it's time for the judging.
That's what a thrill that must have been.
Oh yeah, I was when Devo Manning was doing the scoring for the judge, and he came back. He says, "Well, I think you're in the lead," and I didn't really believe him. He showed me the scorecard, and I was. So then I had to wait for about 2, 3, 4 more weeks for him to finish judging in the United States and go over to overseas and judge. And so when it was all said and done, I was fortunate enough to come out on top.
That's fantastic.
Yep, I was
Tell me
thrilled.
about your experience judging. How tough is that? That seems like an awfully grueling 3 months of travel.
It is, but you're only judging one kid a day. A lot of times, you're up early in the morning to judge because everybody wants to fly up some time early in the morning, but then you had the rest of the day to visit, and they take you around different places. Never been overseas, so going over to England, Holland, Denmark, South Africa, and whatnot. Australia, it was great because I'd never been over there, so to see the different cultures and the different people, it was a truly great experience.
Did you notice a difference in style of roll or anything different between the U.S. kits, what we see here, and what you saw in maybe some of the other countries?
Nothing really. The rollers all kind of basically look the same. Now you get over to England and overseas, they're a little bit of a smaller bird, a little bit longer bird. But as far as the quality and stuff, it was pretty close to the same at that time. I think they've come a long way since then.
Well, now are you going to be flying in the fall fly this?
I'm planning on it. I did homers for about 7 years or so, and that kind of went on the wayside. Club kind of full or decreased, and so now I'm devoting my time to the rollers. So yeah, I hope to get back. I don't know if I'll be back to the top again, but going to give it a try anyway.
That's great. That's great.
Sounds good. Good to have you back, Dennis.
Thanks,
Haven't
Dan.
seen you since my first convention in 2004, and look forward to seeing you back on that winning roster.
Okay, sounds good.
Good seeing you again.
I'll be trying.
All right,
Well, Dennis, a pleasure to meet you.
You too, John. Thanks a lot.
Next week, and all the markings. Them things in there are giant pumpkins, and there's there's all kinds of. Hello? That's really fun. This is two? Yep, those are some of the young bikers. Those guys are going to get trained starting on Sunday. They've been trap training now. Oh. He's actually right here. The first one is only had the one. I put it back on the side. Yes, Johnson.
Ready to go? Okay. We're here today with Kelly Applegate. Kelly's our third flyer today. Kelly's again a new member to our club. He's been flying competitively now for 2 years now. Flew the Fall Fly World Cup. He's starting to figure it out. He's got his birds up flying right now. They're flying nice speed, good pattern up there. These are young birds this year, so the roll is starting to come. But tell us a little bit, Kelly, about how you got started and how things have been going.
Well, first of all, I have to thank everybody, and you especially, for helping me get started with everything. I thank all of the club members and the NBRC for providing all the support for new members such as myself. To find out all the information we need comes, in the bulletins and everything. So that's really great. My story, I've worked with pigeons ever since I was a kid, but flying rollers seriously now for a couple of years, and the discipline it takes is amazing. The amount of time it takes just to get the birds to kit is pretty amazing. The families I'm flying right now are Heine bikers and Masons, and I've picked those up at our local auctions. The Masons I've got are from Wayne Fetter. Very good birds. Some of those young ones are already looking pretty good. And then the Heine birds, I picked those up from Rich Cash from Nebraska, and also was gifted some birds from Rick Shaning. And I bred out of those, and some of those birds are starting to flip over up there pretty good too. So got a lot of people to thank for getting me into the hobby here. My day job is I'm a wildlife biologist for an Indian tribe, which I'm also a member of here in Minnesota, the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe. And part of my work, I study a lot of birds. Purple martins, I'm known for those. Chimney swifts is another one. So around my yard here, you can see a lot of chimney swift towers and their experimental structures to test the nesting success and the migration roost ability of the swifts.
Such as this, what is this right here?
That's an 8-foot chimney swift tower. It's 2 feet wide on the inside. And then if you pan to your left a little bit, you'll see a 12-foot tower, and that's 14 by 14. Then if you keep going, you'll see my martin houses out there. Those are for purple martins. They spend the winter in South America, here during the summer. And then if you keep going, you'll see my kit boxes, and in front of that is a huge cement structure. It weighs 12,765 pounds. And it is a roosting tower for the swifts, but they also nest in there too. So, yeah, that's it.
So when your birds are flying a nice pace here, speed. What did you feed them the last, say, couple days, or are they naturally, depending on, regardless of what you feed them, flying at this?
For the most part, they do fly a pretty good height for me. They don't sky out too much or fly too low. But I gave them a day of rest yesterday. The day before, they flew in really high winds, probably up 30 miles an hour. And at that point, they were just on 2 cups of wheat, and that's what I've been giving them. 2 cups of wheat for 24 birds. And then I'll check them, and if they're a little thin, I'll bump that up or give them peas, or safflower as needed, sometimes Milo.
How long do your birds typically fly?
They usually fly for about 45 minutes to an hour. So we'll see. They look like they're about ready to do an hour or more today because they didn't fly yesterday, so they probably have some pent-up energy. But I'm just happy that they're kidding so well.
I know when you first started, he had them, they were like a kaleidoscope in the sky, not 2 birds getting together, and that was pretty frustrating for you, and we kind of helped you learn how to call and
weed them out,
training them properly as young birds and getting them, and then we started learning how to use the feed and keeping them under control. So it's been a big learning process, but Kelly's picked things up pretty quick, and like I say, he's been our 2 last flies competitively now, so he's going to be only be getting better here. He's got some good bloodlines he's working with and seems to be very happy with, and they seem to be doing what you like to do. So you've got your control back.
Yeah, I'm happy about that.
It looks like this is a little challenge for you, but it looks like you're working your way in it, and it looks like you're doing a fine job here. Birds are looking good. Nice setup. So welcome to the hobby or competitive side anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
That competitive side adds a whole different dimension to it. It's one thing to have rollers and just enjoy them in your backyard, which is fun. But when you got to get them right on the right day, that's where the challenge comes. And that's where it takes a lot of experience, a lot of questions. I get a lot of calls from Kelly asking what he should do, and we try to share advice and keep him moving in the right direction. So he's picking things up pretty quick.
Me, I'm not a competitive person, I just hope I'm just doing the best for the birds to bring out the best of their ability to roll and look good.
Absolutely.
Look presentable.
Good job.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, aren't they doing pretty good? And the other kid, is flying just as good. So
Because a year from now, that kid's going to be completely different. I mean, you've got a few birds that are starting to roll, and they're starting to get over the team. And it's, those 3 and 5 foot rolls are going to be 10 and 15 and 20 foot.
So those are Micah and Mason birds.
flying together, yep. The darker ones are mainly the Masons, and then the lighter ones are mainly the Hyenas.
But you breed them separately.
Yeah, I keep them breeding separate, just flying the 2 families together. And they fly together nice, as...
I'm not seeing a lot of twizzle up there. It's short rolling, but it's not. You gotta get garbage stuff. It's something. It's a real problem. Like that little blackbird. It popped over so fast you could hardly see him. Only did one flip. But it's a.
Boom. And that black is a Mason bird. So the Masons are coming into the roll pretty nice. And that little red one at the top there, that's a Mason bird.
They usually fly about that high, but don't get real high. This guy.
I keep my birds.
I I think you feed a lot. I mean, compared to what I feed my birds.
Okay.
You feed 2 cups, and I feed my cup a week. That's it.
Oh.
1 cup a whole week. Yeah. Well, I've only got 17 in the kit right now. But I would say, Jennifer, 20 birds.
Their wings. That's the one thing
Wow.
about this.
Wow.
This
Wow.
one, the tails are an inch longer than.
Yes. Really short wings.
That's a cock.
These are your honey bikers?
Yeah.
Their keels aren't that super long. They're pretty medium. I mean, it doesn't go all the way to their bend. Pretty average size keel. Wow, their tails are long. Stands out.
Now let me show you a really long-tailed one.
Sure do.
No one wants to pay for someone else's birds get hit by hawks or something. So they do. It's a different animal. Because like here, guys, like no one's hoping man hit by hawks, so I win. Or hoping it's a bad fly. Everyone's cheering. I remember watching the first guy flying. Everyone's like, the bird was flying. Everyone's like, don't land. Everybody was doing that. Eventually won our region. There are other places where guys are just on fire. When you're a diehard competitor. But that's no. I think part of it is also everyone gets to work together, see each other all the time, and if you become, maybe someone says something to you, and you're like, man, I'm gonna get that guy.
There, I'll take that one there.
Which one? The little black one?
Yeah, a little black one with the white rum. Right there.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep, see the white rum on it?
Yep.
Are you short for it? Huh? No. No, I don't. Yeah, I got those 10, 11 from Ireland. Yeah.
And so I showed Cat, so I really felt like so they had the deep rain, we were all white, deep red, or I got the big one too.
Okay, you can hear it. I'm Dick Coleman, and this is like rural Sauk Rapids, Minnesota. And I have, you're welcome to go through my lofts. I have 4 kit lofts here. They're a little different than most of the guys have. It's like walk-in kit lofts. I like that because I'm kind of a lazy guy. And it's easy for me to keep up. My breeding loft is over here. And I fly, like most of the guys around here, some Donald birds, and I fly some Joe Buck's Nootka birds. I have a few birds from Larry Hubbard in Kentucky, and a few Henry Cook birds.
Okay, we're here in Sauk Rapids. This is Dick Coleman. A lot of people probably recognize him. He was our 2010 National Bird Fly here, judge. And Tell us a little bit about your birds.
Well, my birds, I've been flying some Joe Bob Stuka birds probably for the last 5 years. And I also fly some Donald birds probably for the last 5, 6, 7 years. And I have a couple other strains in there. What did I have? Type of birds we fly. I have 4 kit lofts. I have like walk-in type kit lofts. And I have 2 buildings. One's my breeder loft and one is my kit loft. The buildings are both 10 by 20.
Okay, Dick, did you do anything special to prep your birds for this fly?
No.
What do you
I
use?
understand you got a very unusual calling card. Is that true?
Yeah, my calling card says that I breed and fly average pigeons. And of course, my buddy John Elton said, "Don't you wish you had average pigeons?"
What do you usually do for preparing your birds? Anything special or?
I try not to fly them. Sometimes you hear guys say every other day, every third day. I'm not, maybe 3 times every 2 weeks. It depends. But I don't really do a food routine thing. But I don't win big flies either. So whatever's easy for me.
Dick has been a long-time flyer. He's one of the charter members of the Minnesota Flying.
No, I'm not a charter member, but I'm one of the older members.
Well, okay, let's start in 1973. I thought you were one of the original.
No, I'm not.
Dick was one of the guys very instrumental in getting me started many, many years ago. With advice and getting some good birds to get started.
So the birds you're going to let out right now, what are we going to see? What family? Because I know you said a couple.
Okay, they're all the families I talked about. It's kind of a mixed up kit.
Okay.
There are a lot of the one thing I don't have a very bad predator problem here or hawk problem, but I do have kind of a wind problem here just because of the lay of the land and the terrain. But I'll take the wind over the hawks.
It causes the birds to fly a little goofy sometimes.
Yeah, my birds can fly along the ground in the wind.
Yeah, they'll sometimes they get, because of the way the land's laid out here. If they've been flying in the wind, they'll go almost treetop high.
All right, thank you, Dick. We're looking forward to seeing the birds. It's a nice place. Lovely place.
Tear them up, Dick. Literally, yeah. They'd come and get these right bushes. But the wind is always no matter what. Even if it's light wind like that, he's got heavy here. It's light
Now you say you cried the whole night through. Well, you can cry me a river, cry me a river. I cried a river over you. Wow. Now you said you're sorry for being so untrue. Well, you can cry me a river, cry me a river. I cried a river over you. You drove me nearly out of my head. While you never shed a tear, babe. I remember all that you said. You told me love was true to the end. Told me you were through with me, and now you say you love me. Well, just to prove that you do, why don't you cry me a river? Cry me a river, 'cause I cry a river over you, over you. You say you love me, but you lie. Just to prove that you do, come on and cry me a river. Oh, cry me a river. I cried a river over you. I cried a river over you. I cried a river. Now you can too. Cry me a river. Cry me a river.
It's just high enough we can't.
Yeah, right. Way fader, man. You see my, you don't want to see my love right now. All that molting going on.
Call me irresponsible. Call me unreliable.
Nice.
Throw in undependable too. Do my foolish alibi bore you? Well, I'm not too clever. I just adore you. So call me unpredictable. Tell me I'm impractical. A rainbow I'm inclined to pursue. Call me irresponsible. Yes, I'm unreliable, but undeniably true. But I'm irresponsibly mad for you. To my foolish alibi for you. Girl, I'm not too clever. I just adore you. Call me unpredictable. Tell me that I'm so impractical. Rainbows I'm inclined to pursue. Go ahead, call me irresponsible. You're so unreliable, but it's undeniably true. I'm irresponsibly mad for you. No, it's true. Oh, baby.
This is St. John's University. This is where I work. I'm the landscape manager here at St. John's. I manage all the gardens and the shrubbery on campus. And so I'm very fortunate to have a situation where I can have my birds with me all day and be able to fly them during my work day and train them, that sort of thing. So I'm very fortunate. We've got a greenhouse here and produce about 10,000 annual plants for our gardens. And we got a few things left in there, some perennials, but that's pretty much been shut down for the season now. Got this building here to the right. This is the old garden house. This first section here goes back to about 1890. Was probably one of the first buildings. At one time, this was all gardens, and the monks of St. John's University produced all the vegetables and produce for the students and for the monastery. Then after World War II, it just economically didn't become feasible. But that's our root cellar there. We still store a lot of our vegetables, potatoes, carrots, squash, that sort of stuff for the monastery. This upper building here, when I took over this position, one of the older monks, Brother Urban, had rollers, and that's actually how I got into rollers. I got to know him, and when he retired, I inherited his birds, and then from there I found out about competitions and upgraded my stock. I currently fly Donald birds. I've been into those since the very beginning, actually, and I've been competing since about 2005, 2006, and I've been very, very happy with these birds. Just to give you a heads up, I've had a real hawk problem here lately, and so these birds have been locked down since last Saturday. I've only flown them maybe 2 or 3 times in the last month. What I'm going to be flying is the remnants of my World Cup team. Started out with 24, I'm down to 17 at this point right now, so hopefully there'll be enough in there to still put on a pretty good show. What I'm going to do, because of the hawk, if I released him from here, if he's sitting in those trees up there, he'd be on me within seconds. So I'm going to take him out and actually release him from that field. They'll go up, and I'm not sure there's not enough wind here to drive it either way, but they'll generally be right above us here, so you don't have to actually walk all the way out there. I'll release them from there, and the birds should fly over the top of us. So with that, that's about all I got.
One question.
Yes.
When are you retiring? No.
I'm never going to retire. They're just going to compost me in, put me in with the gardens.
Just keep me in mind.
Okay.
Good job. Nice.
You're a falling star, you're the getaway car, you're the line in the sand when I go too far. You're the swimming pool on an August day, and you're the perfect thing to say. And you play it coy, but it's kinda cute. Oh, when you smile at me, you know exactly what you do. Baby, don't pretend that you don't know it's true, 'cause you can see it when I look at you. And in this crazy life, and through these crazy times, it's you, you make me me sing your every line, your every word, your everything. You're a carousel, you're always somewhere, and you light me up when you ring my bell. You're a mystery, you're from outer space, you're every minute of my everyday. And I can't believe that I'm your man, and I get to kiss you, baby, just because I can. Whatever comes our way, I will see it through. And you know that's what all love can do. And in this crazy life, and through these crazy times, it's you, you make me sing your every line, your every word, your everything. So la 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 la. So la 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 la. And in this crazy life, and through these crazy times, it's you, you make me sing your every line, your every word, your everything. Your every song, and I sing along, 'cause you're my everything. Yeah, yeah. So la 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 la. So la 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 la. La 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 la.
Hi, this gentleman is John Elton, and we're in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And John, can you tell us a little bit about the area you fly your pigeons?
I fly them out of here at St. John's University. That's where I'm employed. I work as a landscape manager out here, and when I took over this position, I also kind of inherited the buildings, and a monk that works here at St. John's University is also a monastery, and we had a monk that was in charge of the gardens, and he had rollers. That's actually how I got into rollers to begin with. And so I've been flying now for about got a little hawk issue going on here right now. So I've been flying them out of here for about 6 years. It's very nice having my birds here at work. I can fly, 4, 5, 6 kits a day, and be able to be around when they come down and trap them in. And
Hey! Tree right there. Boom! Where'd the hawk go? Did he land? Pigeons right there on that road right there.
He's coming after him, but...
Well, John, can you tell us what kind of birds you fly and when you can fly?
We'll edit that part.
I fly Donald birds, and I've been very successful with them. They perform very well. I feel they're one of the fastest and deepest birds out there right now. And right now it's been hard because I've been dealing with a hawk problem pretty much all season, and lost about 40 birds, and basically today I'm flying the remnants of my World Cup team. So that's been tough, losing birds, losing key birds out of your kit. But so I think after today I'll probably shut down until fall. I don't think I have a choice at this point right now.
Well, John, you're the president of the Minnesota Flying Roller Group. Can you tell us a little bit about that club?
Well, the Minnesota group, we're very honored to be able to host the 2012 convention. It's great to have people come here to Minnesota and to get a chance to see our birds. Our group is a great bunch of flyers. Got about 58, 60 members now, and it continues to grow. Club's been very active, flying and competing this summer and spring with pretty much monthly flies out of the Twin Cities, and very, very supportive. It took a lot of team effort to get this convention pulled together, and I just want to thank all our members that stepped up and helped us pull this together, and hopefully have a very successful convention.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Sweet group of youngsters there.
And these are out of
Sincerely, oh yes, sincerely, 'cause I love you so dearly. Please say you'll be mine. Sincerely, oh, you know how I love you. I'll do anything for you. Please say you'll be mine. Oh Lord, won't you help me find my love? That girl is so. She doesn't want me. Oh, I'll never, 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 sincerely. Oh, you know how I love you. I'll do anything for you. Please say you'll be mine. Oh Lord, won't you tell me why my love, that girl is so. She doesn't want me, so I'll never, 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 never.
Well, guys,
Put it real close to your face.
I really don't have that many families over here, but I have about 5. So,
Yeah.
I fly Joe Bob Stuka Base Birds, Rick Shaney, and let me see here, Don Simpson, and some old rats. That's about it. I don't know. We'll see what they're gonna do.
Alright.
'Cause I love you so dearly. Please say you'll be mine. Sincerely, oh, you know how I love you. I'll do anything for you. Please say you'll be mine. Oh Lord, won't you tell me why my love, that girl is so. She doesn't want me. Oh, I'll never, 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 sincerely. Oh, you know how I love you. I'll do anything for you. Please say you'll be mine. Oh Lord, won't you tell me why I love that girlie so? She doesn't want me, so I'll never sincerely. Oh, you know how I love you. I'll do anything for you. Please say you'll be mine. Oh, say you'll be mine. Say you'll be mine. Oh Lord, won't you tell me why I love that girlie so? She doesn't want me, so I'll never sincerely. Oh, you know how I love you. I'll do anything for you. Please say you'll be mine. Oh Lord, won't you tell me why I love that girlie so? She doesn't want me, so I'll never sincerely. Oh, you know how I love you. I'll do anything for you. Please say you'll be mine. Oh, say you'll be mine.
Hawk right there. See him shaking.
Oh my God, that's not a hawk.
That's a falcon. That's a falcon.
Man, that's a falcon.
Woo!
All right, good.
Okay, we're here. Last flyer of the day is Cole Thor. Cole has put his birds up and had a chance to see a falcon attack. But it was a pretty exciting chase there. Cole, tell us a little bit about your birds. What family or birds are you flying?
Well, I consider my birds as my birds since I picked the breeders. But most of my breeders came from either Joe Bob Stuka,
Okay, my name's Eldon Cheney, and we're here with Jim Peterson. We're going to ask him a few questions about who Jim Peterson is and what he does for the roller hobby. Jim, you're the owner moderator of the Earl's Pigeon List.
Yeah,
correct?
I am. I took over for Earl Allen when he had some family problems back in about 2001, I think it was. So for about 11 years now, I guess I've been doing that.
And you're also a Hall of Fame member.
Yeah, I got voted in the Hall of Fame in 1991, and I was really proud because Paul Vaughn was the one that read my he's the one that actually installed me, or whatever you want to call it, and that was quite an honor. And the year before that, I got to install him, so that was kind of neat. Paul was always a hero of mine, fine gentleman and a roller flyer.
Well, tell us a little bit about your pigeons. Where did you get them? How long you been flying rollers? And,
Well, I got my first pigeons as a 9-year-old kid in 1954, so I'm 67 now. And I had fancy birds, but all of a sudden one time I had some fancy birds, some nuns actually, that a guy wanted to trade me some rollers for. And believe it or not, I traded some pretty nice nuns for some ball-headed rollers, but those days I flew everything. turned everything out. And a couple tail rides and a couple flips later, I started getting enchanted with that, and rollers slowly took over the loft. I had some really good Modinas from the late Bob Pettit, who was quite a Modena breeder, but they too got shoved out for the rollers because they beat up my rollers, and I couldn't have that. But I've had rollers all that time, except for a little hiatus when I had to go to active duty. I started with some George. I had different families of birds over the years, but in 1968 I got 8 pairs of birds from George Reeve. He and I were great friends, and I had those birds, and he and I traded birds back and forth. And I also traded with Paul Vaughn now and then. George's birds went back to Paul Vaughn and Bob Evans, and I've had that family for since 1968, 44 years. In 1990. Juan Suling was going to get out of birds. I think he has a health problem there or something. He had to get rid of some birds.
He did.
Yeah, and he wanted me to try them. And I was looking to get some birds that developed a little bit earlier than mine, for young bird flies mostly. And I tried the Hardesties, and I liked them. I enjoyed them the longer I had them. There's things I didn't like about them, but that's true about any family you have. You've got to kind of work through those things. And so I've had a family of, I call them my Hardesty birds, but I've had them since 1990. My first season was 1991 with them. I got them in 90. So I've had them since 91, so I think somebody says something clever today, so I guess I got to stop blaming Carl for those birds. Any problems I have now are mine.
That's true.
That, and like a lot of guys, I have a lot of problems with hawks, and I've lost a ton of birds to the hawks. And I had a virus of some sort. Eldon pretty well thinks it was PMV. I don't know for sure what it was, but whatever it was, I had a number of birds die, and I had to kill a number of sick birds. I'd never had that problem in my life. It almost put me out of the game in 2001, 2002, and that set me back. I kind of made a recovery, and then I had a weasel come in 2005 and kill 7 stock roosters. And if you've been around rollers very long, you know it's hard to get a really good stock hawk. And some of these were the best I had, so again I had to kind of start over again. And now I'm constantly being barraged by hawks, and so that impedes progress too. But I've been at it so long, and I do like the birds, and of course, above all, I find the real value in all this has been the friends you make through it in the hobby, and I really value that as much as anything, although I've lost some awfully good friends. That's the disadvantage of being the young buck at one time between Paul Vaughn, George Reeve, Jim Young, and Don Higbee, and Henry Schultes, and some other guys.
It goes on and on.
Yeah, so there's a lot of guys we said goodbye to. Some guys get out for various reasons. See, I have no trouble talking. You notice
I noticed that. I saw the other day you sent me a clip of, they did an interview of you with the television, is that it?
Yeah, it was a television interview. A guy
cool.
has a little segment on
Yeah.
our evening news. It came out pretty well.
Yeah, I was impressed by it. You had some shots of some very nice pigeons.
Well, one of them I can't claim was off of YouTube, and it was somebody else's pigeon. I suggested they use that because I've been gone for a week prior to that, and when I turned them out, a hawk come through right away, and some went up and some veered off to the north, and I had 2 kits there for a while. And then when they came back, the ones that came back, they were in, well, as I said today, faddling mood. They didn't do very well. He was having a hard time getting them filmed. They did get one good shot of a bird rolling. It was one just about ready to land. I have a spangle that rolled fairly decent, but the rest of those ones you saw were...
You've been pretty successful in some of the flies, competition flies.
Yeah, I've had some luck here and there. No world champion or anything like that, but I've done okay, enough to keep my hand in and enjoy the birds. My goal has always been not to win, but not embarrass myself, which maybe that isn't a very high goal, but as many times I wish that I hadn't embarrassed myself, and I have. So.
Anyway, is there anything else we need to talk about?
Well, I have a lot of interest besides pigeons, but the pigeons have been number one for a long time, and I can't imagine being without them. It becomes part of you. You know, it's in your blood.
The Earl's List is a really good site, and I'm sure it's not an easy task moderating that thing. So we really appreciate you doing that, because a lot of us get on there.
Well, I try not to over-moderate it. I try to let it kind of run its course, because that's what Earl Allen wanted when he set it up. He wanted to be a free exchange of ideas. But when it first started, there was guys cussing each other out, not even caring at all what they said, and not even weighing what they said. When you're sitting there typing, there's no reason. Your temper can't be so bad that you that you can't do away with the swearing when you have a difference of opinion. And there was some of that, and it was really an unpleasant place. And at first we had young people and some women on the list, and I was cognizant of that too. I was embarrassed for them, and I was embarrassed for guys that I considered gentlemen that should be acting a little more gentlemanly. So anyway, I've always tried to set a tone without actually throwing people off the list and all that kind of stuff. So it's been kind of an evolution, and there's time that the list is probably a waste of time, and there's times when there's some good information there. You have to kind of wade through it, so to speak.
Thanks again, Jim and Eldon, for hosting, interviewing Jim. Thank you both.
It was a
Eldon,
pleasure for me.
I've known Eldon since 1989 or so. Did you start coming to the convention in Louisville?
I met you the first time in Jacksonville. Back in the early 80s.
Okay.
Jackson. I didn't know you. I didn't know Paul Vaughn.
Okay.
But I got to know him.
I think Paul was maybe at that, wasn't he?
He was judging it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was the first time I ever showed a roller. And I just knew my bird was going to win.
Yeah.
And Paul walked by and he didn't even look at my bird. He took it out and put it down. I said, probably where the good ones go. Wrong. It was fun. It was a great time. I've had a tremendous time with the Pigeons. And I'm sure you have too.
Oh yeah, lots of laughs. In fact, we've been kind of rehashing a few of the stories and whatnot today, and that's always what's so much fun. Because most of us spend our time alone with our birds or in our lofts, and we don't really get to exchange. And when you get together like this, everybody has the same interests you do, and that's really unusual. Usually you walk in a room anywhere in your private life, and there's nobody there that's interested in pigeons, unless you can tell it in a way that makes it interesting for them.
Well, these conventions, it brings everybody together with the same interest, and it's a good exchange of ideas. And
Yep.
And
I learned today what a Merlin hawk was.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thanks again, gentlemen.
You bet. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Off, and here come their birds.
As soon as that's the thing. As soon as it's good. But we're going to fly in July. This is our first year. These are our birds together, so I'm going to be flying 200 birds out here.
Okay.
Hey, Dave, tell us about your portable loft. I didn't know you was going to have this out here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Well, there's a dozen birds in here right now. They feed in here. They don't water in here. I don't live them in here. I just fly them out of here. I have a bigger cage that they fly out of this into a larger cage. When I get ready to go, I bring this in front of them. They go in there ready to eat. I close it up, take it where I want, fly them like now.
Have they ever been out in this park before?
One time a week ago. They've been sitting in Cole's garage now for 2 days.
One time ever they've been out here.
Last Tuesday. They should go for about a half hour.
So the amount of people here doesn't really affect.
No, there's 2 trapped already, and they're usually the later ones to come in, so I don't understand that.
Dave, you fly them around the house?
Not my house.
What do you? The first time out, where do you take them? Anywhere? That's it. Yeah. You start them at 2 weeks.
Start them at 2 weeks old.
The squeakers. Put them in there 2 weeks.
It's best off to start the squeakers before they can actually fly. Put them on them, touch them, let them hear the sound of the thing. Feed them on the back. Yeah, right before they start flying.
Okay.
And
because I had heard 2 weeks. I thought myself, that's kind of young.
yeah, that's no 2 weeks out of the nest, maybe.
Yeah, it's still in the nest.
Yeah. So 2 weeks after they
About
come
3
out of
weeks?
the nest. After they come out of the nest.
So do you ever really take them to the same location more than 2 or 3 times? Or
You mean in a row? Sometimes, but usually not more than 2 times in a row, the same place.
And can you tell us what it is that, because these are regular rollers.
Yeah, and there's no Pacific strain, there's Mason, there's Kelowna, and some of these birds were going to be culled out, so they're not fantastic rollers, they're just flippers.
Right.
And they wanted me to put something together for the show, so here's what I did.
So, and can you tell us what it is that brings them back to the kit box? Is it the color of the kit box? Or?
Yes, this one here in particular is orange. I used to have another one that was blue. When we started this club in '72, everybody had a different color. Yellow, green, blue, red, orange, and everybody's birds came back in their own Pacific box. So that's what brings my birds back to my box, is mainly the color. Howard!
There they go, they were dropping.
Look at this guy. Come on, little red. There you go. Look at this.
Hey, Gene. Yeah. Hubbard. That's the name of that tune. Yeah, this is more traffic than they've ever seen, so. Oh, girl. Well, no hawks, that's one good thing. Oh, girl. Hubbard.
one bird came in it. That's cool, huh?
That's awesome, man.
Take this to school for kids and stuff.
Yeah.
You did good.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Dave.
How long you been doing the portable? Started in '72.
Oh, really? Oh, I see.
Then I took 40 years later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the first kid I ever flew was portable. I had the video from Don Heisowitz, and for 3 months it was great. And then one day I went out in the desert and let them out, and they skied out, dotted out, and disappeared. And, yeah, and I had two jobs. I didn't have time to sit there. Yeah.
You might just sit the whole
And
day.
I called him. He said, "Well, take your loft back there and just leave it there." And, I said, "Well, someone will take it." He said, "What do you need the loft for if your birds are going?" You know. So,
Did you leave it sit there?
no, I didn't. It was.
3 days most of them had birds out when I got back here.
Yeah.
And if there were some hawks that come in here right now and they happen to go in the trees and got dark on me, I'd have to come back.
Yeah.
And I left my kit overnight, and next morning I come back and get in there. Over at John Johnson's house, in this particular, I had a blue ball head hen that didn't come back so early. I took the rest of my birds home. I left this at John's place. I came back over the next day. There was blood inside of the loft here. The hawk came inside, got the bird out of the loft, took it on the other side of his building and killed it on the ground. He came in this loft and took the bird out.
Got out. Probably hit the trap and bounced it until he got so freaked out. You know, the knobs will bounce and they'll squeeze out. You know? Yeah.
But there's been a lot of interesting things happen with this because you can move it around different spots.
Yeah.
A lot of different things happening. So it's enjoyable. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, because I had to move my birds to my buddy's bird store, and some birds wouldn't trap in, and the next day when I drive over there, the birds would be on the roof of his building, and I had a truck with a camper shell, and they'd fly towards my truck when they saw it. They were squeakers. 3 weeks? Yeah, about 5-6 weeks. I was proud because I didn't lose any, and I never flew before,
Like I said, we had 5 or 6 colors, and we were all flying. Wayne was one, Mark Ritter was one, John Johnson was one in that club when we started, and we all had different colors. And we had this one guy lose his birds, they were yellow, and as we looked down the road, there was a yellow bug Volkswagen going with all the birds on the
No!
back, he asked God.
No kidding!
Up back.
They followed the code.
The little yellow bug in the country happens to drive by.
Volkswagen,
And the birds are full of it.
Yeah, we followed it.
That makes sense.
Thank you.
This is pretty cool, though.
My name is Elvin Cheney. This is Greg Truesdale. You're from North Carolina, is that correct? Exactly. Well, tell us a little about your pigeons. How long you had them?
I've been back in them since 1984, and it's been good.
What family are you working with?
Right now, I'm working with the Continental family, which I got the first 2 pair from Dick Stevens in 2005, and then I got a follow-up in the foundation from Darryl Wiley in Los Angeles, California, and I finally began to win, some local club championships, which is Tri-Flying Roller Club. Last year, 2011, and I was a club champion in 2012 this year, so back-to-back championships. With a combination of the Continentals, my original family I started with was South Carolina birds. I still have some of those in my kid. They're 6 and 7 years old. And they all work together. It's coming together now.
So you've been at it a long time, haven't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I remember years ago I was down in North Carolina and you were one of the top dogs. You don't remember, right?
Yeah, I've been in it a long time. I'm finally getting some rewards from it.
You bet.
Yeah.
Racing rollers is pretty rewarding, isn't it?
Yeah. It's therapeutic. It's kind of time consuming the time consuming aspect of it is good because it relaxes you, and like past histories with people, they want to find something, but I've always had the pigeons in mind, and once I got into them, that's something I don't never want to give up. I think I'll be with pigeons the rest of my life.
I agree. They're definitely therapeutic.
Yeah.
and you get to meet so many wonderful people as you go through life with them, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I come to the conventions. After the convention in 2007 in North Carolina, I said I wasn't going to miss another one, convention, and I did miss one. I think the one in the mountainous region. I missed that one, but ever since then I've been coming, and it's a joy to see the people that you met in the past, and you see them again, and then you see them at a convention, and you mingle, then you meet new people, then you see them again, and then sometimes you're sitting at home and somebody may call you out in the clear blue sky that you met at a convention. And that's the good part about it.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah, that's great.
You definitely enjoy your pictures.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The hobby, period. The whole hobby, the whole aspect of it.
Well, is there anything else you want to tell us?
It's a joy. And if anybody ever look at this interview and want to know what, get into a good hobby that can be rewarding but time consuming, and it'll put you on your P's and Q's as far as knowing what you need to do and how you need to do it, because you got to bring the performance out of the bird. It's all about the performance. It's a performance bird. Bring out the performance in it, and you will be rewarded. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for talking to us.
My brother, where are you going fishing?
I'm in Mille Lacs. My brother owns
I live up by Mille Lacs.
My brother's a rich guy. He used to own golf courses. He's got a family.
Hey, Doc Smiley. This is your bird? You see it, Greg?
Real nice lake home. On Mille Lacs. Yeah.
Does he live up there?
Yeah. He lives in
Minnesota,
and then has a lake home in Mille Lacs.
Going through the NBRC. Cuckoo bird.
Young guys need
Mac, what you doing, man? On the motor.
Did you take a picture of that kid?
I already did.
My gal will come down
Okay, I'm Eldon Cheney. This is the Vice President of the National Birmingham Roller Club, Cliff Ball from North Carolina. Is that right, Cliff?
North Carolina, yeah. Moved there in 1980 from Ohio originally. Was,
Hot butter rollers.
yeah, I was about 13 years old. I had rollers from Rich Krupke, the old Whittinghams. And we used to lay in the yard and watch those birds sky out, the pin dots in the sky, and roll 100 feet. And of course, like most guys, got away from rollers for a while. And, got back into them in 2004, and been working with the James Turner family since then.
You've been pretty successful with those birds, haven't you?
I've been real pleased. I accumulated about 450 points towards my master flyer with that family, so I'm happy with it.
So you've been with the Pigeons almost all your life, is that correct?
Took the hiatus to get educated and raise a family. Tried some birds originally, raised about 100 of them. Didn't get many that spun the way I liked. So I went to see Jay Yandel, who at that time had just won the national championship 11 bird. And he flew a kit, started picking birds out of the air and handing them to me. And from then on, I've been working with that family. I've had a lot of other families in the yard. I like to bring in other families and raise a kit and compare. And compare the performance of those birds with my own. And I think it's really the only fair way to do it. The geography is different, weather's different, feed's different.
So what families have you worked with?
With Scott Campbell's birds, Rick Shaning's, worked with some jackanets, Henry Cook. Let's see, those are the main ones that I've worked with. And so far, the birds I found that perform the closest to mine have been Rick's, Shaning's, all the Harris birds. A little larger than mine, a little longer cast. They tend to fly a little higher than mine. The Turners don't want to lift, and I found Rick's birds were more variable depth. The biggest fault I find on the Turner family is they tend to be single depth pigeons. A lot of guys think they're hot, but I think more than being hot, they're really just, they tend to be single depth performers. So they're going to roll 30 feet or 40 feet from wherever they are, and that costs you good pigeons, especially when you're preparing for competition.
So you feel more comfortable with the Turner birds instead of the Shanning birds?
I do, only because I find fewer problems in the Turner bird. Rick's birds, the individual pigeons that I have, and I think it always gets back to individual pigeons. Individual pigeons that I had, red birds that tended to go real high, and so trouble keeping them down. There tended to be a higher percentage of problem birds. They wanted to go land on the fence. They wanted to go land on the house, land in the trees. Kidding problems. They tend to leave the kit. My birds just seem they're easy to manage. They're easy to work with. They like to fly. The biggest problem is getting them up. They don't like to lift a lot until they get mature. Once they're mature birds, the old teams go up really well. But that first year, it's hard to get them lifting really well. If you get them in too good a shape or overweight, they just don't lift.
So how do you feed your pigeons?
I tend to start them out on straight wheat when I'm weaning them to get them all eating the same diet. And then once I get them in the air, I'll go to 50-50 wheat and milo. Once they start spinning, then I'll drop back to straight wheat. And on weekends, I tend to give all the birds a mix. I like them to get all the grains, get all the nutrition on weekends.
What about grit?
Pardon?
Grit?
I have grit available for my birds all the time, even the flying birds. They usually get the grit they want. And it just seems to me, if I see wild birds, turkeys, doves in the yard, they're always in the driveway. They're always eating grit. So I make it available. I don't know that. To me, it's kind of like vitamins. There's different philosophies on it. I supplement vitamins and things for my birds. Does it help? It's a hard thing to measure, just like it is for people. I take vitamins, but it's a hard thing to measure.
When you're preparing your kit for competition, what things do you do?
I stick pretty close to Monty Nebel's yo-yo system. That works really well for me. I fly my competition team every 3 days, and I use Monty's system. And so somebody can come into my yard on the third day that I'm flying the competition team, and they're going to see somewhere between 300 and 500 point scoring just any given day. They just go up and perform. They like to fly, they like to roll, they like to spin, and so I keep it pretty much on that all the time. The times I've done the worst in competition are the times when I've tried somebody's fancy preparation scheme and it just never works. I just haven't found anything, and I've tried them from the guys from South Africa, guys from Joe Bob, Rick Me, a lot of guys that have done well in competition. But what works for their birds just hasn't necessarily worked for mine. So I always find that how my birds look on just a normal average day is usually better than how they look when I give them some kind of crazy prep system.
So do you lift the water the day before you fly them?
I do. I tend to. It kind of depends a little bit on the heat and when we're flying, but I usually take the water away the day before. else would you like to know, Dan?
No, thanks. You've done a good job. Well, good job as vice president.
Yeah, I've been been really active with the organization. I'm absolutely committed to the NBRC and to the sport. And I write a lot of articles, try to support the journal as best I can in the organization. I really enjoy meeting other roller guys. I get a real thrill out of meeting guys all around the country and seeing their birds. And to me, that's the real joy of the hobby.
Appreciate all you do there, Cliff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Eldon Cheney, and I have Henny Kirsten here from Washington State. Let me know a little bit about you.
Okay, I am from Holland. I'm born and I'm raised in Holland. I've been over in this country for 33 years. My dad was a fanatic homing pigeon man. He flew some pretty darn good birds. So I got into it automatically real easy with my birds. And I had the homers and I didn't like the heavy losses you would take flying competition. So I got pretty quick into showbirds. And I had showbirds still. I came over to the United States. I was 25. And I sold all my showbirds and I've been without birds till I retired, which is a couple of years ago. And I wanted to absolutely get into birds again and got into the rollers. Bought the small kit of rotors from Mitch Reed on our forum, on a forum that I'd heard about, and so that is how I got into rotors.
So you had started in rotors.
Yeah.
So what birds are you working with now?
I am flying birds from the Mitch Reed, which Mitch Reed mainly flies birds from Ivan Hesse, I believe, and then I got some breeding pairs last year from Wayne Feather that he sent me in the mail.
Those are the English-based.
The Masons, and I've been working with those two families really. There's a lot of difference between the Masons and the other birds on one side. There is, but a lot of fun.
Every family seems to be a little different.
Yes, there was a lot of difference between the Masons. I have noticed they are low-flying birds. They're birds from Mitch Reed. You have to watch really good, otherwise they will sky out on you. You have to really feed them just right. But I've been at it for now a while, and I've been flying competition and been doing fair. Getting started.
Well, this is the first convention you've been to?
Yes, first convention, and it's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Will you be attending more?
Absolutely, because I'm retired. I think I'm gonna be a year at steady phase.
And you're going to be a competition flyer, is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. I want to fly competition. I've been flying already competition for 2 years, and yeah, doing okay. I guess it's getting started. There's a lot to it, but I'm getting there slowly.
How many birds did you breed this year?
I bred pretty much 90 birds, but I'm losing quite a bit on the falcons and the hawks and the cohen. So I'll be glad to have a couple more bird kids hopefully that I can keep over.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Eldon Cheney, and we have Henry Cook here. So we're going to do a little interview with him. Henry, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I started my first Birmingham roller pigeon strain in 1967, and I pretty much had rollers the rest of the time. I thoroughly enjoy them. I still have the desire to get up every morning and the weather's permitting, and I fly.
So what family of pigeons are you working with right now?
Right now I've got birds that I got in 1992. I got 7 birds from Jerry Higgins. And I worked with those and thoroughly enjoy them.
You've had, what were the families that you worked with before?
I worked with birds down from Bob Evans, and worked with birds from Jim Bradley. I worked with birds from Floyd Mayberry, Jim Snyder, and Paul Vaughn, and probably several others. Right now, they're coming down.
And you're tell us what you do for the NBRC.
Well, I'm I sell personalized bands and name and address bands, and we sell caps. And we on the website, what's known as store, you know. The wife and I, the wife is equally involved. And does all the computer work because I'm computer illiterate.
Well, you and Billy have certainly done a tremendous job for the NBRC, and we're very proud of you.
Well, thank you. Well, we enjoy it. We meet a lot of people, just like you and other people do.
Well, and you come to all these conventions pretty much, don't you?
I make a lot of them. I don't make them all, but I make the last one that was in Montana. I ended up in the hospital in Oregon.
Yeah.
That was no thrill at all.
But, yeah, I'm sure that was pleasant. But you're all back.
I'm pretty much back to normal, other than old age.
You're not that old. You're just a kid.
I'm about 20 years older than Elvis.
And he's ancient.
None of us is as old as Frank.
That's for sure. That is a fact.
Put a blessing on him, God. Listen, you don't have, your car is full, ain't it, going back?
That's all right. No, that's good.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Your car going back, is it full? Are you going to stick around?
Nah, Frank, don't come in here with that. I've got 3 real pretty girls I'm taking.
Oh, wait.
That's the end of that.
I'm on the video.
That's the end of that.
Wait a minute. One of them is Frank Lavin's wife, and one of them is Jim Peterson's wife, and one of them is Henry Cook's wife.
Well, forget it then. I'll go back on the bus. No, that's all right. No,
But our car, seriously, our car is about a 4-pack. You could get in there and squeeze.
No, that's all right. No, Joe Emmett and I had a big old conversation all the way around. You know, so, yeah. No problem.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, Henry, thank you again for all you've done for the NBRC. You've been around for a while. I mean, even when I was in Hawaii, and we had Rob Perry up there flying some of your birds, and I liked what I saw over there, and I came back afterwards and met you over here. So pleasure meeting you and Billy.
But Robert Perry was one of the first guys after I got the Higgins birds that I gave a few birds to was Jim Perry in Hawaii. Sure.
I got to see some of those. I haven't been over to your place, but I got to see some of your stuff in Hawaii. So.
That's a long ways from Marcus.
Well, you saw some today at Dick Coleman's house.
Okay, that was also okay.
Some of Henry's birds. Yeah, the ones that were rolling the best were Henry's.
Okay.
Now you're putting me on the spot.
All right, thanks again, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you.
All right, this is the second day of the 2012 NBRC convention here in Minnesota. We're currently at Koo Vang's place, and we're waiting for Koo to come, but we're taking this opportunity to interview Jay Yandel. If you don't know Jay Yandel, most of you probably have heard of him before. He's from North Carolina, helped hold the 2007 convention, former NBRC president, and 2003 11 bird winner. So, Jay, just for the rest of us to know, what family of birds do you raise and do you fly?
Primarily, I got my start from James Turner. Also have some birds down from Henry Cook as well. I have an older family. I don't know exactly what the origins were that my dad got me started with. Got a few of those left too.
How many birds how many breeding pairs do you breed from every year? And how do you select your breeders and determine what birds go in your stock box?
Well, the birds that go in the stock off are birds that have been flown, and usually I'll breed from about 12 pairs, somewhere between 8 and 12 pairs a year.
How many youngs do you routinely band every year, or would you like to band every year, ideally?
A little over 100 usually every year.
Out of the 100, how many would you say would probably make your A or B team?
Out of 100, I would say in the A team, maybe 10 birds, maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 out of them probably 20 of them would make the combination of the A and B team.
And I guess just to finish it up, do you have any sort of special prepping system or system just to get the birds ready for a count fly?
Just get them into shape, get them into condition where they can roll for 20 minutes, and play with the feed a little bit. Primarily feed wheat, use some Milo, some beans.
All right. Simple as that from former champ. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
You got voted to the Hall of Fame this year. Yep. I think that's free. Cool. Thanks for you. Yeah.
Let them know too.
Alright, we're at the house of Kulung Bang out here in Minnesota, and just a couple of questions. So this is cool. A couple of questions would be cool. How long have you been flying rollers?
About 10 to 12 years.
And how many years have you been flying competitions? Is this your first year or?
This be like my third year. Yeah, you say third year.
Third year?
Started in 09, but I didn't fly comp in 09.
Okay, so starting in 09, but didn't really start flying comp in 09 until a bit afterwards.
Yeah.
And now, just to let the rest of us know, what family of birds are you flying? And
right now I'm flying the Rock Kumros. I got a few Pigeons from Steve Smith. Number 14. Flying the Donald Leopard I got from John Elton.
Don Elton, okay. So you got the Kumros, a few Higgins from Steve Smith, and Donald Lepp from John Elton.
Yep.
Out of the three families, is there one that not that one's better than the other, is there one that fits your style a bit more, one that you prefer more than the other?
Well, I can't really say about the Higgins because I didn't breed enough. The Roulettes, I like them a lot. They're not as frequent, but they're deep and fast. So far as the Kumros, this is like my third month just flying them. I like them so far. They're pretty frequent, coming to the road early. Fast spinners.
Now, how many birds are you breeding from? How many pairs are you breeding
Pairs?
from?
6 pairs. The rest, I got another 6. Wait, another 7 fossils.
So you got 7 fossils and 6 breeding pairs.
Yep.
How many birds have you bred so far this year, and where would you like to cap it off? How many would you like to breed in?
At least 60.
At least 60?
Yeah.
How many do you have so far banded?
Like 35, 40. Wait, 40? Yeah, 40.
I myself, I actually judged Koo's kit. They had the Metro, which is Twin Cities fly in June, and I judged Koo's kit for the first time, 11 bird fly, and Koo came in second that day. So I know he's as a fairly new guy coming out.
Yeah,
he's got some good birds, something to look out for.
Yeah, it's just too bad Hawks are harassing me over here.
Hawks are everywhere. Lash out. Something you want to say to everybody, or
no?
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you, Koo.
Oh, you loaded. Well,
I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke niggas. Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke niggas. Get down, girl, gon' head, get down. Get down, girl, gon' head, get down. Get down, girl, gon' head, get down. Get down, girl, gon' head. Cutie the bomb, met her at a beauty salon with a baby Louis Vuitton under her underarm. She said, I can tell you rock, I can tell by your charm. Fine girls, you got a flock, I can tell by your charm and your arm, but I'm looking for the one. Have you seen her? My psychic told me she have an ass like Serena, Trina, Gina for Lopez, 4 kids, and I gotta take all they badass and show this. Okay, get your kids, but then they got their friends. I put up in the bins, they all got a bin. We all went to den, and then I had to pay. If you fucking with this girl, then you better be paid. You know why? Take too much to touch her. From what I heard, she got a baby by Buster. My best friend said she used to fuck with Usher. I don't care what none of y'all say, I still love her. Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke niggas. Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke niggas. Get down, girl, gon' head, get down. Get down, girl, gon' head, get down. Get down, girl, gon' head, get down. Get down, girl, gon' head. 18 years, 18 years. She got one of your kids, got you for 18 years. I know somebody paying child support for one of his kids. His baby mama car crib is bigger than his. You will see him on TV any given Sunday when the Super Bowl and drive off in a Hyundai. She was supposed to buy your shorty Tyco with your money. She went to the doctor, got Lyco with your money. She walk around looking like Michael with your money. Shoulda got that insured Geico for your money. If you ain't no punk, holla, we want prenup. We want prenup, yeah. It's something that you need to have. Cause when she leave your ass, she gon' leave with half. 18 years, 18 years. And on her 18th birthday, found out it wasn't his. Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke niggas. Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke niggas. Get down, girl, gon' head, get down. Get down, girl, gon' head, get down. Get down, girl, gon' head.
1532 and 1734, dude. Those are Evansburg.
Well, that definitely is little.
Yeah, they are definitely.
John, which bird is this?
Oh, and there's a 350 cock.
Yeah, that bird is so
Which bird is this pedigree for? Who's that 66?
She's an old blue check badge that Chuck Hayes raised, actually. Do you have her yet? 66? Gotcha. Yeah, you can definitely go in. Matter of fact, inside I have some birds and some show cooping.
Talk right. Put your mouth right against it.
Inside, I have some birds and some shell cooping of some fancy breeds and some pens and some paper. If you're interested, you can go in and write down your guesses as to what the breeds are, and we'll see who comes the closest to being right. And all MFRG members are not able to be in on this. They've been over here too many times.
What do you say, Wayne? What we doing? Take some guesses at some fancy birds he's got in there.
What they are?
Yeah, write it down. Don't tell anybody else. Just put your guess in.
I would.
You already know. Oh. Can you do a quick breakdown on this pedigree?
Different breeds. URC.
Before we do your interview,
as the people been asking me what family I fly, I was basically the old Evans family. I got my first I bought my first birds of these in the fall of 1973, and my first breeding season was 1974 with these, and I've been pretty much flying them pretty much pure since, in addition of a couple of Pono birds here and there for like spread tracks and everything. But like if you look on this pedigree, all the 62 birds, those are birds Bob Evans raised that Bob Clark, the guy that I got my birds from, got from Bob, who was breeding out of.
Boy, Evans provided quite an extensive pedigree with these birds, didn't he?
Oh, I can even go further back to the just the palace one.
Oh yeah.
There's a 350 cock there.
27, no.
Yeah, 1242.
1247. 1247, I think it is, yeah. What was it? I think it's 47, John.
I don't think so.
He also has dogs.
Where is he? Because it looked like you were a little doubt too.
As small as you can get your
Oh yeah,
pedigree.
see somebody wrote a 7 over the 2.
It wasn't me. I don't have a pencil, honestly.
There's another pedigree on the other side.
Hey, I saw that. I looked here, I thought, well, that's tricky. He wrote backwards on that one. It must be in code.
But anyway, I got my first pigeons, which were rollers, when I was 7. That was 51 years ago. I don't have my bullhorn, but and I got serious with rollers in 1967 and changed over to this family in 73.
You got a tick.
That was me. Got you this time. You got me this morning.
And instead of introducing it the way I did before, I said this man is probably probably arguably the most important man to the MFRG and the development of, I guess, the fancy here, roller fancy here in Minnesota.
Day 2 of the convention.
Day 2 of the convention here.
Second flyer.
Day 2 here. He's the second flyer, and like I said earlier, he's probably arguably the most important guy to the development of the roller fancy here, mentoring a lot of guys, getting a lot of guys into the hobby. John Johnson. If you could tell us just a little bit about your family, what birds you're flying, and how long you've had the birds.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much my family because I've been breeding this family for 38 years, but I got them from Bob Clark, who used to live in Shoreview, Minnesota, and he got his breeders from Bob Evans back in 1962, and I got my birds from Bob in 1973, so I've been breeding amongst this family 38 years, and I'm happy with them. I've crossed in a Plona or two. Back in like 81, I crossed in a lavender Plona so I could get the spread factor. I felt it was a good cross because the Plonas are behind the ovens anyway. And then I played with some almond stuff that I crossed in 87 and kept crossing into my stuff and getting rid of the original, but there's only one almond on the place right now. So
Now, how many breeding pairs do you have here?
this year I've bred out of more than I normally do. I bred out of 15 pair. I usually breed out of between 8 and 10.
Ideally, how many birds do you like to breed each year, and how many have you banded thus far?
I've banded about 60 birds this year. Usually I band about 30, 35, 40 tops, and usually only 20, 25 of those are for me. The others are for other people because I figure with this family, I know it so well, my percentages are so high, I don't need to breed a bunch. And I've been fairly lucky with the hawks to where I only lose a few a year. So, and right there is my platform where I feed my crows at, and they've been helpful in that.
Keep the crows there, they kind of keep the hawks away.
Yeah. And the rollers have learned, even the youngsters, they'll be on the roof, and the crow will come and eat and fly right over the loft, and don't bother them.
Right now, in terms of flying and stocking birds, what do you look for in a bird before it goes in your stock loft?
Stableness.
Stableness.
Yep. In this family, I've had too many of them that have rolled on the way up, rolled on the way down. We may see that in a bird or two today. I look, velocity, frequency.
And I guess last question. Yes, any comments you want to say to our viewers out there who weren't able to make it to the convention this year?
Boy, you missed a good convention, especially if you live within a state or two of here. It's been a lot of fun, making new acquaintances, getting to see a lot of guys that I've saw before, and should have been here.
There you have it.
Make the next one.
Institution of Wisconsin, of Minnesota here. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
What's with the orange?
The orange? I used to fly portable lofts back in the
certain areas have
1974. Orange is a good color. The Coast Guard use it to use pigeons to locate people lost.
Through California.
I've seen it.
So you would not get lost.
Well, when you're up in the sky, if you're ever in a small plane and going
I got to
over,
put my dogs up. So
a lot of the roofs look a lot alike.
When he walked in, opened his gate, then he went in his garage, opened the garage, and here was his kit box.
I even painted my nest poles orange.
And he had padlocks.
All my perches are supposed to be orange.
Drive. That's just taking out. They fly, they come down.
Somebody told me a story out there that somebody was doing that. They kept them here, just like you explained. Rolled them out. Somebody come up to him. I want your bird. No, you can't have my birds. No, I want your bird. Robbed them right there for the birds and the flower out.
You can't even.
Yeah. You've been in this neighborhood. They did or you did?
I did.
How did that go?
That bird's gonna do much.
Yeah. The county got over one. How did you manage that?
That bird, I like that bird. That black white flight there in the back. Right now.
Backyard, they have a gate there. And off there. Dogs there.
That bird has a habit of rolling on the way up.
We're waiting a little bit. Take a look.
I have them in the kit, but I'll never breed out of them.
No problem.
Nice.
Yeah. Black white plate deep up there. Okay, that was that one. Yeah.
That's high enough. You can't tell what's there and what. Yeah.
Even my family.
Yeah. That's always been so much. That's because when they get so high, I'm feeding them too much.
Well, I usually go with the girl. I like the okay, now it's all time.
That's a black white plate.
Yeah. I haven't heard that one.
These birds usually fly at about 2 times the height. When they're this low, they're don't do all they can do. Yeah, if you guys would have been on time, it would have been. They've been going on.
Can you put the fight up?
I'm going to blame it on you guys not to be here first time. Yeah. Anyway, you hurt the road.
You're the guy out.
You're feeding me. Okay.
I was gonna kiss that one. You're very good. That was the one that was on the catch. I had my hands on like this.
It's so funny. It's not.
These ones are
Reading compartment on the bottom left.
reading compartment bottom left. That's over here.
Okay.
In there. Bottom left over there.
Okay. It's like one is really feathers down there.
Oh yeah. Back
here, if you look at it, it's like the bird got a perm on its feathers. Straight out.
Oh wow, nice. Looks like a bird chicken.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, bird chickens have curly feathers?
No, the other one was puffed up chest.
It's going through the mold. It's looking a little sad at the moment. Well, you know, they have to lose their feathers to get new ones, and this is the time of year that they do. You should have seen it when John was blowing out the loft to get it cleaned up. It was like,
I believe it.
Nice setup.
Don't see that. Yeah. Well, you can have fun if you let you go in. Probably wouldn't give her a fly. You should ask Benita.
they got a lot.
Right. We're here at the 2012 Minnesota Convention in Minnesota, and we got Dan Galarza filming as always, and he's going to do an interview with Tim Decker. So I met Tim back in '95 when I got started in with the old that Norco Boy and CPRC group, and Tim's always had some of the best quality down there in my mind, and most other people's too. And he's he's consistently in the top 10 of these flies, and those guys down there tell me Tim Decker can make a homer roll if he has to. So anyway, I'll let Tim, and congratulations. He's now a Hall of Famer. He's going to get that award tonight, and he's also a lifetime master flyer. So I'll let you do your spiel. With it. Tim do his thing now. So
Thank you.
he's a great friend and a good person too.
Thank you. Questions? I guess to start off, so you've been working with birds long. You've been working with birds long enough to make your own family. But what birds did you start out with, and how long have you had rollers? Sir?
I've had rollers, let me think, probably 30 years, maybe a little longer than that. Birds that I started with when I started basically breeding a family of pigeons that I considered mine. I used 3 families. I went to 3 very closely line-bred families to begin with. It was one from Stuart Forsyth, one that was a very big breeding around our area, which was a 9648 original cockbird. That was his number. And I used some Pinson birds from John Vanderbroek to start. And then I just like to mess around with a lot of different families of birds, so I would breed a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but I always kept that family going. And so over the years, I've just focused on them more than anything else. And then I added a couple of different families to them, so there's like 5 different crosses. And I just pick out of the air to stock.
How many birds do you breed from breeding pairs? How many breeding pairs do you have?
Lots. But how many pairs do I breed a year? No more than 20. No more than 20, usually around 15.
And how many birds do you breed every year? Ideally, how many would you like to ban?
What I'd ideally like to ban was less than 100, usually about 120.
And you talked about stocking birds. Is there a certain trait or certain traits you look for in terms of what bird's going to go from the stock into the stock lot from the comp team?
What I look for is the speed birds, the fast ones, the ones that roll deep enough to score and have some frequency, that stand out.
That's one thing that's always important to all the guys, especially a new guy getting in, is how do you feed your birds? Is there a certain mix, or do you go straight? We'd have 50-50, or
I feed for the climate. I feed for the day.
I'm feeding mix right now. I do have a team that I have straight wheat. I'm just messing around with that. But normally it's just a combination of, I actually mix right now. I'm mixing a milk corn, a couple of milk corn mix. I think 15.5 is too much. 12 is not enough, so I mix a 15.5, 12, and I'm adding just a little bit of corn to boost because they're getting a little thin. So.
All right, I guess.
What else?
For us new guys, what's the quickest way to get Master Fly and become a Hall of Famer? Straight from a guy who's a Master Flyer, 2-time and Hall of Famer.
I tell you, pay attention. You know what? If you really want to get to it, pay attention. You know, sit underneath your birds all the time. Settle on a family of pigeons that are, you know, that you can actually go and see. You can see the birds, and if he's willing to give up the good ones, that's where you go. You know, around here it looks like they've got, you know, everybody has a little different family, and you just have to get what you get from good ones. You have to get the good ones, and you can't just settle. You have to get somebody that's willing to give them up.
And there you have it from the man himself. Like I said, a double Master Flyer Lifetime Master Flyer Award winner and 2012 Hall of Famer here at the convention in Minnesota. Thank you for your time, Tim.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
If I could have everybody's attention for a little bit.
Very good. I like that.
First of all, I'd like to welcome you to Sleepy Creek Lofts. Sleepy Creek is down in the ravine on the other side of the house. You can't see it, but it's there. I was going to tell you that that's my racing homer loft. This is the roller loft.
Closer to your mouth, Dave.
This is the roller loft over here, and I'm busy remodeling that. That's parts of that is 25 years old, and that I just built about 3 years